Well, hello, friends. Mark Holmes here, and as always, thank you guys for watching, commenting, and subscribing to the Joe Booth Report. Without you guys, this literally does not work. Let's get open for business here. We're actually redoing this video because, well, I'm an idiot, and I think let's wake up the football gods up there. Um, I'm still learning, and I apologize. I know there's a lot of inconsistency in what I do and stuff, but I've never been a guy that's used a mixer before. I've never used all this different equipment and everything else, and I have to feel my way through. And I'm a one take Tony. Generally speaking, my life is so busy and things, and I need to time. I don't always check everything, and I need to, but usually I record the stuff. It's my thoughts as it is right then and there. It's an interview, and it's no script in it or anything in it. I do it, and I put it out to the blogosphere. And sometimes it's not quite right because I go from a live stream to, which the settings are a little bit different than when I go through and do my regular. I'll try to make sure I do a test beforehand. So forgive me and just continue to bear with me if you don't, because I'm just not that good. So, anyway, this is a remake of the video that I did earlier. So let me remember what I was talking about. But Zeke Elliott. Zeke has gotten a little bit of concern about Zeke because they said Zeke looked fat. And I'm going to tell you that photography, lighting, setting, clothes all make a difference on how somebody will look. And it's funny because my wife was dressed for this wedding yesterday and she looked at herself in the mirror and she said, "Man, I look great." And then somebody took a picture and she looked at it and she said, "Boy, is that the same outfit that I was wearing? Because it looks totally." It was inside, mirror, everything else. It was outside, different clothes, things like that. So lighting, color, and all that make a difference. My wife is saying, "Don't wear those baby tees," and some of my t-shirts are it's too small. It's maybe I'm just too big. But see, like when I wear this shirt right here, I look good. Okay, I look better. I look slimmer. I don't look like I'm bloated and I'm big, fat, and heavy. The lighting looks better in here with this shirt. It just doesn't work well when I stream sometimes. It kind of messes with the system a bit. But that's the difference. It's not like I just dropped 10 pounds from yesterday. This is the same guy. It's just a different look. So sometimes you can kind of you see different angles and you see things that just don't look quite right. Sometimes it's the camera is picking up things a little bit differently. So Zeke proved that he ain't out of shape. Zeke is at his fighting weight. Zeke looks like a man possessed, ready to go for a Super Bowl as well as get paid. But my video wasn't about that. It was actually about the NFL and what's going on right now. See, as we said, 123 days, 1 hour, 43 minutes, and 10 seconds away from kickoff of the 2019 season. It amazes me about how the NFL has changed. A lot of times something happens, there's an overcorrection or overreach. Like right now, we're dealing with this with YouTube. YouTube, they've gone through, they've made copyright laws in Europe that basically are allowing the copyright after YouTube and Google and all that. So channels, left and right, deleting them, demonetizing them, going a little bit overboard and overreacting. And that's what happened with the NFL when Ray Rice situation came out. Because the NFL is as big as it, people want to hitch their trailer to the NFL. If you can get the NFL right, wrong, anyway, attention of the NFL, it is going to forward your cause. That's why dogfighting with Michael Vick, go after Michael Vick and stuff because now it is putting a light on what I want. And with domestic violence, what happened with Ray Rice, that was terrible. And he should have been suspended and he should have been prosecuted and things. And I'm not light of domestic violence. But just like your job, do you want your company to go ahead and do investigations on you? And regardless that the police or the court system can't do anything to you, that they are the judge, jury, and executioner on top of it? I don't think the NFL wants to be or should be in that position. If something happens to somebody legally, then they should respond in kind. And I think what the NFL was trying to do with Zeke Elliott was by having somebody of his stature, if we can go after that guy, that goes to show that we're tough on domestic violence. We're doing the right thing. And so they made it their point after Zeke didn't fit, or the lack of evidence didn't fit a crime. The NFL spent over a year and 128 pages in trying to get him, that they even did a press conference and they came out and they said, here's the book that we have and everything else, and we're going to suspend him for 6 games because of policy. Even though the police departments make an arrest, couldn't try him, couldn't do anything. Even though the NFL's own people said, there's no there. The witness is not credible. Even though it was just he said, she said. Even though there was no phone call, there was no, graphic evidence, there were no witnesses or anything, they still were hell bent on suspending Elliott. And I believe it was bad for all parties. It certainly changed the course of our season. I mean, we were 3-3 without Zeke. But had we won one more of those games, we would have been in the playoffs. And who knows what might have happened in the playoffs. For the NFL, it looked like it was a kangaroo court and ended up bringing more bad publicity that they did not want to have. So I think the NFL has kind of said, we're getting out of this business. Their investigator that they had for Zeke Elliott, she's gone. And what's happened since that time, there have been others that have gotten in trouble. We just don't hear about them quite as much. Unfortunately, some of them are so big that they do warrant attention, like Tyreek Hill. But Tyreek Hill, they've been kind of silent on. Tyreek Hill, who pled guilty to domestic violence with the same person, whose son's arm was broken, who there's recordings of, they're not saying anything about it. They're quiet on it. Now, we were led to believe that any violations of the domestic abuse policy is automatically 6 games, which is what Zeke Elliott got, even though he was never convicted. But they're not even talking about Tyreek Hill. Nor are they talking about Reuben Foster. Reuben Foster did get a 2 game checks, fine. But there's no game time loss. He's free to play week 1 for the Washington Redskins. Week 2, when we have our tailgate, he'll be playing for the Washington Redskins. And this is a guy who's been arrested for drugs, gun possession, domestic violence over and over again, accused by his girlfriend, and then recanted, even though there's been, physical damage. This is where the NFL is kind of getting away from it completely. They don't want to be in the spotlight. They don't want to do this anymore. And I don't get me wrong. Domestic violence is a terrible thing. There is never, ever any reason to lay your hand on a woman or another person or a child. And it's one of those things that you want to. But here's the reality. We look at NFL players and all of a sudden we're always saying, oh my God, they're drug addicts, they're drunk driving, they got gun possessions, they're thugs, they're beating women. Stop right there. Take a cross section of people. Just take a random group of, say, 10,000 people. In that group, I guarantee you're going to find some really smart people that aren't quite so bright. You're going to find some ones that are, you're going to find ones that just blow their money. You're going to find some that are thieves. You're going to find some that might be domestic abusers. It's just the way it is. Go through in your neighborhood and look up sexual predators. And I guarantee you, you'll see a few dots all over that are random because that's the way it is in the world. And just because somebody puts on a football helmet and plays professional football doesn't mean that they're not a person and not part of that cross section. Because you can be a domestic abuser who's a football player or a policeman or a doctor or a football coach or a doctor. It's just the way it is. But the reality is the criminal activity, the domestic violence, and everything else that you see is lessened than society as a whole with NFL players. But because the NFL is a $10 billion plus, I don't even know how many billions it is now, industry, because if you can get something on the NFL, it makes your brand a whole lot bigger. That people will talk about it. People will go after you. And what players have to realize, and especially you draft players, guys that are just getting to NFL, understand you now have to live your life like somebody is watching you. Because today with technology, somebody always is watching every single thing that you do. And you have a target on your back. Because if I can get you on a camera punching somebody in a bar, if I can get you falling out drunk, if I can catch you cheating on your wife, I'm getting paid from TMZ. Not me, I'm not doing that. I'm just saying that's the mentality of people. And regardless of the great players that are out there that are doing the right thing that doesn't get covered, people would rather see the negative more than the positive. And understand that each one of you NFL players that are newly multimillionaires, that people want to be with you, they want to hang with you, they want to have what you have, they want you to be the baby daddy, and they want to leech off of you. But the sad thing is it's all gone, they will be too. You have to plan for your future. And like I said, your life like somebody is always watching. And hopefully, maybe just hopefully, we won't have any more cases of domestic violence that we have to go through and worry about players being suspended. And a final note on here, because if you look at the arrest just from this year of drunk driving, assaulting a police officer, drugs, gun possessions, and things like that, if the NFL in any way goes after Tyrone Crawford for what happened at the bar, that there was no arrest, then you know there's truly an agenda against the Dallas Cowboys. But as always, friends, hope you guys are making it through this Sunday without football. But the good news is, having this Sunday without football gets us one Sunday closer to the season. I'm Mark Holmes, and hopefully I got everything right this time on the video. I'll see you soon.